Hi, and welcome back to Purple Collar Life. Well, it's another rainy weekend here, but I've still got work to do. Behind me there you can see the rounds that fell off of the big tool rack when I was climbing the hill behind me with the tractor after gathering that oak. So today I'm going to toss that in the back of the Ranger. It's almost like I've traveled back in time today to an equipment expo from long ago, except for the brand new split fire. So we've got the John Deere 2210. That was probably at an equipment expo back in the early 2000s. We've got the Polaris Ranger from 2010. And imagine long ago, the equipment expo that had the Ford Workmaster in 1957. So here's the system I have set up here, and you can see Olive's out helping today. The Workmaster with the big tool rack has the heavy rounds of oak. The Polaris Ranger has the rounds that fell off the big tool rack on the way up the hill. And I've got a fresh IBC toad here ready for that oak to go into, with the John Deere 2210 ready to move it when we're done. I have the two-way wedge in the back of the Ranger, but I've got the four-way wedge on the machine. Now these pieces of wood are a little bit bigger than I would typically think a four-way wedge would be used for, but we're going to give it a try, see how it splits through this hard oak with the four-way wedge. It'll be a good test of the new split fire to see how that four-way wedge works in these larger oak rounds. Just in case you're new to the channel, this is the Split Fire 3465. I custom ordered it with some special things that are available on the Split Fire website, but things that I thought would make it easier for me to split wood, and I can tell you they're already paying off. So I opted for the lift kit, 8 inches higher bed height, which means I got also more length to the log lift. So we've got the log lift, the 8 inches higher bed height, the biggest wheels and tires, the Honda engine, and the ability to use this four-way wedge and I can already tell a massive difference in speed. But like I said in a previous video, to really get the best bang for your buck out of this thing, you'd really want to have someone helping you, because just imagine if Jennifer were here, she could be taking those 4 split pieces off while I'm loading the next round up. So we'd be moving twice as fast. As it is working by yourself, there's not a huge advantage to the splitting on the extension and retraction of the piston, because I can't keep up with the machine. So if you had 2 people, it would go much faster, but it definitely is an advantage to be able to use the 4-way wedge when you have the bigger stuff like this. Now, what's left there on the big tool rack, that is 20 to 24 inch rounds maybe. I think I have a tape. I'll hit them with the tape real quick to see, but we'll see how they do with the 4-way wedge. But you saw, even with some of those other bigger rounds, I still split the quarter piece again, because those are too big for my future use. Okay, so it turns out that maybe I am the world's worst estimator of diameter of wood, according to this tape measure, and it could be wrong, who knows. We are at more like 13 to 14 inches. This big one is somewhere around 15 inches. So these are in the 13 to 15 inch range. This little one over here, only about 9.5, 10 inches. So while I've been splitting wood, Jennifer's been cleaning up some landscaping. What is that you have there?
My red hot pokers.
Where are you putting them?
In the woods.
They'll make good compost dirt. Oh, there's some live flowers in there though.
Yeah, I was trying to pull some out to see if I can pot them and keep them alive over winter, but I broke them off.
Oh, okay. Why does Olive get so excited about the path to the firewood?
Someplace different. What do you...
Olive, come here.
Tell everybody you're feeling better.
Feeling good.
You're feeling better? Huh?
So I had this split fire specifically designed for you to work. You'll notice it has an 8-inch higher bed height for taller people like you and me. And it has the 4-way wedge. So what this means is that on every pass you're getting at least 4 pieces of wood. So it's too much for me to keep up with. So when I split through, you can move the 4 pieces off. I'll put the next piece on. We'll be double as efficient as just me.
I do really like the height.
Isn't it nice? It is. So there's no more of that, just a slight bend always hurt my back. Not that it was, you know, hours and hours and hours that we're splitting firewood, but still.
Right. Yeah, I thought the last one was a decent height, but yeah, this is nice.
Yep. What do you think about having a 4-way wedge, 4 pieces at once?
Don't cut your fingers off.
Yeah. It's working great though. This is oak that was in the electric right away from when they cleaned the right away out. I told the story in the last video of how they clearly couldn't have been the ones to crush the pipe, even though I put pictures in of like the tracks running right down over it. Would make nice future oak probably in 2 years or so.
Not that I'm in a hurry for volleyball season to end, considering we're in the semifinals this week, but I feel like in the 3 months that I haven't really seen you, more equipment keeps showing up.
Yep. That's true. It was all planned though, even before you had volleyball. Wait till you see what stuff I ordered while you were at volleyball.
Yeah, this is really nice.
So we're gonna take a lunch break and then we'll come back out and split some more. Look at that beautiful oak. Now, remember the John Deere 2210 does not have the lift capacity to lift the tote full of wet firewood, and this is green oak, so it's about the heaviest that I can possibly lift around here. So I'm filling it up to this level. I think that should make it so I can still lift and move this tote around. So we'll fill the front up to about that same spot and then stop for the day, or at least for this tote. Now let's talk a little bit about the four-way splitting when it comes to large rounds. When I came out, I did bring the two-way wedge because I wasn't sure with those large oak rounds if the four-way wedge and the split fire would be able to cut through them. But it did a fine job. It broke things off chunks at a time, 4 chunks at a time. Actually worked out pretty nice because I was able to, pieces that were sticking up a little bit further, get some smaller bundle type wood off of the top of the blade even after the first split, so that was nice. The thing I do notice is that with the four-way wedge, sometimes pieces will get stuck underneath it. Now this wedge does lift up and slide down to work through the wood easier, but if it gets the piece of wood pushing up on it and pinched, it's not a major problem. You just put another piece of wood back here, come through this way, it pushes that piece of wood back out. So the other thing I was worried about with the new split fire with this larger knife, I wasn't sure it would cut through those solid knots like the 2265 with the thinner sharp knife does. But this one, just like the 2265, if there's a knot in its way, rather than splitting around it, it's got the sharpness of the knife to cut straight through that knot, which is one of the things I really like about the split fire design. So I've got 5 more rounds in the back of the Polaris to put onto the split fire. We're going to go through those pretty fast, and then we've got to figure out where to store this wood while it seasons. Well, my goal for today was to get that firewood out of the big tool rack and the back of the Polaris Ranger. Got all that split. Easy and fun with the new split fire. You can see how much we ended up with here in the IBC tote. So a little bit of a test to see how the John Deere does lifting this up to move it around. The split fire did a great job on the work today. I never even took the four-way wedge off. It worked fine. So there's the answer for those of you who are wondering. Four-way wedge versus some larger rounds. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a big thumbs up down below. Leave your comments. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already following us. Lots more firewood coming up in the future. And we'll see you again the next time. Thank you. Have a good day. there's your answer. We can just barely lift it off the ground. We'll be able to move it on flat surfaces, but we won't be able to take this tote very far. That oak, when it is wet, it is extremely heavy. You can see we're only up to about this level. A third of a cord of split firewood would be up to the top level of this 330-gallon IBC tote. So we are maybe 2/3 of 1/3 of a cord, or 2/3 of a face cord. Jennifer can't get this spiky thing out of the plant, so we're gonna go get the excavator real quick. I think it'll be able to do the job.
Well, maybe we need to buy some different piece of equipment that'll be
Ooh, good
better.
thought.